I was sitting there like, so everyone hasn't been feeling this?
The whole time?
Because me and Imposter Syndrome are like... Hi there, welcome back to the Community of Support. I'm Deb, and I'm a first-year medical student at Dalhousie University in Halifax. And I have with me a special guest today.
Hi, I'm Nathalee, and I'm also a first-year medical student at Dalhousie, Halifax.
I did my undergrad at University of Toronto in neuroscience, and then I took a year to apply to med and work. I worked like 4 different jobs that year. But if you guys really want to know like a more detailed about my background, because it's a good story, just let us know in the comments and we'll definitely get you that video. But yeah, took that 1 year and here I am in med.
Nice. I did a bit more schooling, as you know. So I did my undergrad at McMaster in a program called Psychology, Neuroscience, and Behavior, and applied to med at the beginning of my 4th year. And I applied to a bunch of schools across Canada, didn't get in on my first round, so I took 2 years to do a master's with my thesis supervisor and reapplied. And then I ended up interviewing at Dal and U of T and decided that Dal was a better choice for me.
I didn't know like a lot of that.
No, learning a lot about each other.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, Deb and I met once we got into med school. We were walking down the street and I was walking towards what at the time was only my apartment building. We now live in the same apartment building. And I saw a fellow student and a fellow Black student and I was like, hey, let's chat. And so we started chatting and here we are.
Yeah, anyways, so we actually met a year before that. When we were at the Community of Support practice MMI for Dal, and we literally had a whole conversation. We had each other on Facebook. I thought we were gonna be friends all along. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it didn't hurt a little bit, but we moved past that, and now I think, you know.
Yeah, we initially met at a stressful time, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was interview prep, a lot was going on.
Yeah, it was a lot. We are officially 3 exams in, 3 units in to our first year of medical school, and I thought this would be a good time to just kind of like check on each other, see how it's going.
Yes.
I feel like a lot has happened.
Yeah, it went by pretty fast actually.
Yeah, it's
looking back on it.
It started yesterday. I thought 4 years. I thought 4 years was gonna be so long before
me
I could
too.
start living, but
Me too. Once I got over the excitement of like I finally got into med school, there was a part of me that was like, did I really just sign up for 4 more years?
So what were your first impressions when we
Started med school?
Yeah.
First it was gratitude, because as we know, it's a weird time to be in med school or really doing anything in the world right now with COVID and everything being online. So I was pretty stressed about the online component. Online schooling has never been great for me, but Dal made some really, really good efforts. So we got our orientation week and got to meet 10 people, which was awesome.
Yeah, and no other school got to do orientation, so that was pretty big.
Yeah, so I felt really, really grateful for that, because I genuinely don't know how I would have known a soul if
yeah.
we hadn't done that.
Except my soul.
Except your soul. People ask me a lot if it's what I expected. I don't even know how to answer that question sometimes, but I feel like Dal in particular, I mean, I don't go to another med school, so I don't know for sure, but we're learning a wide range of things. And so far, I feel like we've gone from ethics to law to diseases, and it's
finances.
like finances, yeah. There's so much in my brain right now, and I'm happy about that.
It's interesting that you say there's a lot in your brain, because I feel like my brain is both packed and empty at the same time. For me, I was in shock for like 4 months, like after we started, because every time something would come out, even like when they put up our picture on the website, I had to go find myself to make sure that I was actually there and they didn't like make a mistake. So eventually shock wore off and here we are. I was mostly worried though, because in O Week they talked a lot about like you're part of this new like society, community, and you're gonna be under scrutiny, so you have to be careful about what to post. And I made my Instagram private so quick. Because I was so stressed. Like, I don't want my patients looking at me on Instagram being like, why is she always taking these baddie pics when she's supposed to be caring about my disease?
Your baddie scooter pics, is
Yeah.
that what you're referring to?
Don't follow me on Instagram.
I feel that though. I actually do remember that moment because I felt so stressed, like all the pressure, all the excitement of like I got into med school, I'm gonna be a doctor. Just for a moment it disappeared and all I felt was stress. I was like, oh my goodness, I am supposed to be an example. You know, I am someone people are supposed to be able to look up to. It hit so fast.
No, especially in like one of our courses when we started talking about all the ways you can lose your license.
Oh yes.
And it's like, oh
yes.
So I'm not like the stress never ends. Like it just keeps adding to it.
They hit you with the real quick.
How's it going now? Like,
yeah, how's it going now? I feel settled. In the sense that I have a daily and weekly routine. I kind of know how to approach these various classes. What does it mean to prepare for a tutorial? But in a lot of ways, I don't feel settled. We'll probably get to this, but we just had an exam, and I have yet to finish an exam and be like, that went well.
Yeah. You know, I think the point is that you should never feel that way. I have this thing that if you feel that way, you probably failed. I feel like I'm doing better. I'm like shocking myself with the amount of studying I'm capable of.
Yeah.
Or like, just like the amount of like work I'm able to take on. Because I look at my schedule some weeks and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the week ends and
you
did you did like half of it.
Comfort of being behind.
Yeah.
We've gotten to a point where we know we can catch up. And that's a nice, calm space to be in because we got a lot going on and we can't afford to be stressed every time things didn't happen exactly on schedule.
Because it literally won't. And I feel like that's part of the education too, is like learning that you're always just gonna feel like something's falling and you just kind of have to prioritize. You're gonna disappoint people every day, but like you have to pick who's worth disappointing today. I don't know.
Mostly myself.
Yeah. That's always the same thing.
When I make the decision to disappoint someone, I'm just like, disappoint myself.
Yeah. But we're learning to take better care of ourselves and prioritize ourselves. Like now I like turn off my laptop after like 8 or 9, depending on if it's exam season or not.
And I've noticed we're also learning to do things that we enjoy, like finding time to enjoy the outdoors, literally just leaving the house more. I think I talked to you about one week where I realized I hadn't left the house in days, and so I made it a priority to just leave the house every day, even if it's for 5 minutes. So I think we're getting better at balance for sure.
Yeah.
I was away for a little bit, and Deb would have to like text me a video of her walking outside. Like she couldn't tell me she was outside; she had to show me.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I would lie and say I'm going outside, so that's fair. But let's start with the cons because I feel like it's gonna be very obvious.
Yeah, the cons I think hit a little quicker for me. The biggest one is meeting people. It's kind of a sad feeling to walk down the street and know that I could be in front of a fellow student and not recognize them. I like that Dal has done a good job of switching up who we see in our tutorials, so we're kind of meeting people, but you're not truly meeting people until you meet them in person. So that's like the biggest one for me, and I feel super lucky that you live in this building, that we have a couple other med students who live in this building that we can hang out with.
Yeah.
But it's weird not knowing my classmates, and sometimes sitting through lecture, I don't know about you, but I feel like so alone.
Bro. The online lecture thing is real too, because like no one's gonna stop, like no one's watching you, so you can be on your phone the whole time. It's so much harder to pay attention because of that.
Yeah. The accountability is not there at all.
But what are the pros? I think my biggest pro is like getting up. Like I literally wake up like this sometimes. I get up from bed and just get to my laptop. It's the same shirt I slept in, but who knows, right? They can't smell me. They can't see me. Sometimes, I mean, like my hair, like obviously your hair has to look somewhat presentable because they can see you on camera for tutorials, but yeah, people don't know what be going on down there, and like I really enjoy that. Sometimes I think about having to go to class and like get up and like spend an hour or less, like or more getting ready, and I feel literal stress. Because we do it like once or twice a week for like skilled clinician and electives. And even that's like stressful already. So I'm like, I can't believe I have to do this every day.
I have that thought often actually too, because for me, I do like to get dressed for classes, but I like to eat my breakfast and listen to lecture at the same time. And I don't know if that's gonna be okay. Like the types of breakfast that I'm eating, like maybe I could eat a donut in the lecture hall or something. The types of breakfast I'm eating.
Like she literally made us waffles once as we watched a lecture, and we're out here like
knife and fork.
Tell us more about
syrup.
breastfeeding. I actually think I can watch lectures live more now that it's online because I just know, like, I don't know if I can get out of bed like that. Like when school starts, these 8:30 a.m. like lectures,
we would
I don't know.
Be there at 8:30.
Be there. That means you'll be up by like down. Depending on how cute you want to look that day too. Like you have to like plan ahead.
Yeah. I find it interesting and kind of challenging to have gone from being in like a master's degree where I'm literally an expert in something to being at the bottom of the food chain all over again, where every space I enter I'm like the least knowledgeable person. And I'll be sitting in a elective and I'll have a question and it's like so basic. Like they're looking at a scan and everyone's like, yeah, we all see that obvious mass on the scan. No bueno. And I'm like,
it's just great.
Like it all looks the same to me.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Yeah.
I didn't do a master's, so I don't have the experience of being an expert. I've just always been at this level. And I think I'm getting more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Like just not feeling dumb for being dumb. Like of course I'm dumb. I'm a first year med student. Everyone expects us to be dumb.
Yes.
I'm kind of scared for next year when they expect us to be less dumb,
I
but
know.
nothing has changed. That I found really funny too when we first started med school was how like in O week they had a whole presentation on like Imposter Syndrome. And they were like, you know, a lot of you are gonna question why you're here. For some of you this would be like your first time dealing with this kind of like questioning of like if you deserve to be here. And I was sitting there like, so everyone hasn't been feeling this?
The whole time?
Because me and Imposter Syndrome are like...
I feel like we've talked about this, just like the confidence we see in some of our peers. How?
Where did you get it from?
Where
did you get it from?
What's that like?
Like, did you actually get it and be like, of course I got it?
Yeah.
Because some of us got it and we're like, oh.
Some of us are 6 months into medical school still wondering if the medical school made a mistake accepting us.
Oh yeah, I haven't posted my white coat yet. I just want to wait and see if anything changes.
Like get through the year,
yeah,
and then you'll be like, so by the way, I've been in med school for a year.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for imposter syndrome to just disappear. You're like, don't worry,
not.
over time.
I feel like it's not though, and I mean, it's harder too when like everybody around you doesn't look like you.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time. I mean, I think we're luckier than previous years too, where like we have a good number of like Black students in our class. Yeah. So once in a while you'll be in a tutorial and you'll see like another Black person and you're like, hey. I mean, but obviously you can't do that. So you just pretend you're not like rejoicing on the inside. Sometimes I'll just like, you know, when you just like, you're like outside of your body looking in, and I'll just see myself in like a sea of like people who don't look like me.
Yeah, I feel that. Which actually kind of makes me think, like, how have you been feeling about when these conversations are kind of initiated in some of our classes? Because I personally, I'm glad that you're in these classes with me,
yeah.
But I feel uncomfortable a lot of the time because a lot of it feels forced. I'm grateful that there's room for the conversation to happen, but a lot of it feels forced, and everyone seems uncomfortable, and then I feel like as Black people, as the Black people in the room, we want to come in and make people feel validated.
Yeah.
So both of us had to move from somewhere to be here. So that's one big thing for me. That's been a change. I know you've done a big move before, but I hadn't. Mm-hmm. So having my friends and family be in a completely different province, like I know it's been better lately, but for the first few months I really struggled with, I need to make new friends here, but also I need to maintain my friendships and relationships with people back home. So finding that balance is something that has been a challenge, but I feel like I'm getting closer to what's reasonable, and just being candid with my friends and family, letting them know this is something I'm worried about, and kind of seeing how they feel about the relationships. But that's been tough.
It is hard, like moving. Like I've done it before, and that was after high school, and I feel like I just had less ties to everything. So I was like, peace out. Like I'm going to Toronto, or the big city, the big apple of Canada, and I was really like feeling myself, you know. And then like I grew up, and I'm like, I actually kind of like my family, and I would like them around more often.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of tough. And I feel like I really did set up roots in Toronto, so like being here like, is like difficult in the same way. Like I can't see my friends, I can't like But then also it's kind of good because I can't see my friends, so I can study.
Yeah. It's so funny how many things we talk about where we're like, it's bad, but it's good because it means more time to study.
Yeah,
like
that's
good
always...
social events will get canceled. And we needed that one time for the entire month to socialize, and then we'll be like, no, it's just extra study time.
No, like I feel like, okay, when we had a few snow days like 2 weeks ago or
Yes.
so, before they decided that we don't deserve snow days, but
Yeah.
we actually didn't have to go to online classes because school was canceled.
Yeah.
And I got so excited, I would literally be like, snow day, say less. I get up so early and just spend the whole day studying, and I'm like, I'm pumped, like I'm doing it, like that's right, one more thing off the checklist.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
It's a good feeling when you can just do a bunch of things in one day.
Yeah,
That feels so good.
yeah.
So it's hilarious though, because so many people, even I tell my mom, I'm like, we have a snow day. She's like, oh, so you're gonna go out and enjoy yourself? And I'm like,
You know what's fun? Crossing things off your to-do list.
For real though.
Like, what do you mean go out? What do you think this is?
I'm not here for enjoyment.
But it's also kind of funny. I feel like friends and people like also try to, like they want to be so respectful of you being in med school and stuff, and so like I've had people be like, oh, I didn't want to call, like I'm going through a tough time, but I didn't want to call because like you're in med school and I know you must be so busy, and like I spent that whole week just like sitting there and like not doing anything, like falling behind actively.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could have called. We would have died.
And that's such a good point too, because it's like, yes, we are constantly busy in the sense that we always have something we should be doing, but some days we're just like mentally processing. Like some days it's an actual struggle to get up and do a significant amount of work. So you're like, I find myself staring at a wall more often than I should be.
Now it's interview season should be coming to an end, or at least it's the heat of interview season.
Yes.
But it should be people should start getting, especially from now, they should start getting their acceptances next month or even this month.
This month. It's supposed to be this month. Yeah. It was late for us.
Who knows? We got ours like a month and a half later. So, so I don't know. Like, what is your advice to people who might also still be starting school in the COVID-19? Oh, I didn't mean to say it. Like she who shall not be named pandemic.
That's a good question. I think you've heard us talk a lot today about our experiences, and I think what it really boils down to is you just have to, one, be kind to yourself, because this is not a normal way to be starting school by any means. And so when you have those days where you're really, really struggling or things just don't feel right, like it's because they're not quite right. So, be easy with yourself. Like there's a lot to get done, but also find like a rhythm that works for you. Like hopefully you can get to the point that we're at now faster, where you find balance and you do the things that you want to be doing and you talk to the people you want to be talking to, because that's really the reason that we're here smiling, enjoying ourselves. It's because we figured out how to do what we want to be doing and how to enjoy the process even though it's inevitably stressful.
Yeah, that was really good. You speak so well. I feel like the biggest thing is understanding, even for people who are like applying or not, or like didn't get in, or are just not at the place of applying yet, you're just preparing to apply, or even for those who get in, like I keep saying this to anyone who will listen, like you have to separate medicine from your life. Like I feel like as pre-meds, we get really like caught up in the whole idea of like we want to go to med school so bad and it's so competitive that we do everything we can and start centering our lives around it, and it's such a not horrible, but it's such a hard way to live, because then everything matters so much more and every failure feels like the end of the world. And I feel like for me, I would not be able to survive this yet. It's still like hard, but I would not be able to survive it if I'm not able to like separate that, how they can realize that this is like a career at the end of the day, as much as it's a grueling career and it's very competitive and difficult to kind of like get into. It's still just a career. And it's hard to think of it as just a career, because it's like we save lives. Yeah. But it is like it's a fulfilling and needed career, but it is a career, and at the end of the day, your life is kind of what makes a career worth it. Like you still need to go back to your day-to-day life. So don't let it just be your entire life. I find that I do better when it's not my entire life.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to us rant and laugh like idiots.
The usual.
Yeah, that was really fun. I'm glad you could join us.
Me
and
too.
Hopefully we see your face more on the channel.
Maybe.
Yeah.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, let us know how you felt about this video. If there's anything else that you want to ask us or like know more about our experience in med school. We just thought it would be a good chance to like just throw everything out there. And really just, that was like self-care for us. Thanks for watching. Remember to click the links below and subscribe to our channel. Join the community of support. And thanks for watching.